You're lying next to someone right now. Or you've fallen asleep thinking about someone. Or you're alone and quietly wondering why that feels wrong. That pull, that ache toward one specific person, feels so natural it seems like it was always there. Like it's wired into you somewhere deep. It wasn't. For most of human history, 95% of it, the kind of pair-bonded, one-partner-for-life structure that modern culture treats as the default didn't exist in anything like its current form. Not because ancient humans were reckless or uncivilized. Because survival demanded something different entirely. So how did early humans organize their intimate lives? And what actually changed to shift the species toward exclusive pairing? The answer starts in the bones. In 2012, anthropologist Kit Opie at University College London analyzed reproductive strategies across 230 primate species and published findings in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The data show that only about 29% of primate species form anything close to exclusive pair bonds. And in those species, pair bonding almost never arose because of love, attraction, or social preference. It arose because of one thing: infanticide. Male primates in multi-male groups would kill infants sired by other males to make females reproductively available again. Pair bonding, Opie's team concluded, emerged as a defense mechanism. Males who stayed close to one female and her offspring dramatically reduced the child's risk of being killed. Not romance. Protection math. Among early Homo sapiens living in bands of 20 to 50 people across East Africa, roughly 200,000 years ago, the evidence suggests a different structure. Multiple adult males contributed to child rearing. Paternity was often ambiguous, and that ambiguity was likely a feature, not a bug. An infant with multiple potential fathers had multiple potential protectors. So what changed? Here's where it gets strange. Everyone assumes the shift toward pair bonding was driven by emotion, by love becoming more sophisticated as brains got bigger. The actual evidence points towards something far colder: property. In 2012, researchers at the University of Vienna, led by archaeologist Walter Scheidel, cross-referenced skeletal data from Neolithic farming settlements, sites dated between 7,500 and 3,500 BCE, with evidence of inherited wealth markers. The pattern was stark. As humans transitioned from mobile forager bands to settled agricultural communities, the bones of men and women buried together at high-status sites showed consistent isotopic signatures of relatedness, suggesting that monogamous-style pairing emerged not from emotional evolution, but from the need to pass accumulated resources, land, livestock, stored grain, to biological offspring. Verify specific Scheidel burial site statistics before publishing. When there was nothing to inherit, paternity certainty didn't matter much. The moment land became heritable, it mattered enormously. The pair bond didn't come from the heart. It came from the field. Now zoom in on the biology, because the body has its own record. In 2009, evolutionary biologist David Putz at Pennsylvania State University published research in the Journal of Human Evolution examining physical dimorphism, the size difference between males and females across primate lineages. The rule holds across species. High male-male competition for multiple mates produces large body size differences. Gorillas, for example, with their harem structures, show dramatic dimorphism. Males weigh nearly twice what females do. Humans? The ratio is about 1.15 to 1. That number places Homo sapiens squarely between the high-competition gorilla and the relatively egalitarian gibbon, which genuinely does form monogamous pairs. Human bodies, in other words, carry the evolutionary memory of a species that wasn't fully polygamous and wasn't fully monogamous either. The body itself is a compromise. A 2009 study of testis size across primates reinforced this. Chimpanzees, who live in genuinely promiscuous multi-male, multi-female groups, have testes roughly 4 times the relative size of human testes, a biological adaptation to sperm competition. Gorillas, whose single male groups mean almost no sperm competition, have very small testes relative to body mass. Humans fall in the middle. The anatomy tells the same story the bones do. Somewhere between the two extremes, trending slowly, imperfectly toward exclusivity. So what happened next? The cultural engine accelerated what biology started slowly. In 2016, anthropologist Joseph Henrich at Harvard University, drawing on data from 83 countries and published in Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society B, documented how institutionalized monogamy, enforced by religious codes, legal structures, and social shaming, measurably reduced male-male violence, crime rates, and resource hoarding within early agrarian societies. Institutionalized pair bonding wasn't just a private arrangement. It was a social technology. Cities couldn't scale when large numbers of unmated males competed violently for access to mates and resources. Monogamy, enforced culturally, was partly an urban planning solution. The Roman Catholic Church's 9th-century prohibitions on polygyny, applied across previously polygamous European aristocracies, accelerated this further. Within 3 generations, inheritance laws, property records, and social identity had reshaped the definition of legitimate family to the point that the older, flexible structures became not just unusual, but morally coded as wrong. Everyone assumes monogamy is the natural human state. The truth is it was the efficient human state. Efficient for accumulating wealth, scaling cities, and reducing intermale violence. And that efficiency made it the dominant one. That leaves one uncomfortable question under all of this. If the pair bond was invented, at least partially, as a solution to property and scale, what does that mean for how it feels today? The neuroscience offers a partial answer. Research published in 2010 by Helen Fisher at Rutgers University, using fMRI imaging, showed that long-term attachment in humans activates the brain's dopamine reward circuits differently than early-stage romantic attraction. Early attraction floods the ventral tegmental area, the same pathway activated by cocaine. Long-term pair bonding, by contrast, shifts activation toward the ventral pallidum, a region associated with deep social bonding across mammal species, including in species that don't choose monogamy, like prairie voles, whose pair bonding is chemically enforced by oxytocin and vasopressin. The feeling of deep, sustained attachment to one person isn't a cultural illusion. The neuroscience is real. The emotion is real. It just arrived, evolutionarily speaking, on top of a different foundation than most people imagine. You're lying next to someone, or thinking of someone, or alone with the familiar ache. That feeling is ancient, but not in the way you thought. It's not the original human default. It's the accumulated result of 10,000 years of property law, urban density, religious code, and biological compromise. All of it somehow producing something that feels like it was always yours. Maybe it was. Maybe that's just what inheritance looks like when it goes all the way down. The pair bond wasn't born in the heart. It was built there, stone by stone, law by law, generation by generation, until the construction became indistinguishable from the feeling itself.